Welcome to a rather interesting question and a possible answer to the question. But before I state the question and seek the answer to it, welcome, vanakkam, vande mataram. The question is this, something that we have dealt with from different angles on a few occasions before, but this particular angle I have never shared with you, and I am sure no one else has shared with you either. The question is, why was Rahul Gandhi stuck the label of Pappu? In other words, why was Rahul Pappufied? Pappufication. Such a word doesn't exist in the English dictionary. I am coining that word because such a word is useful for us as a shorthand to denote a particular process which has gone on for far too long, with which we are only too familiar. So, the Pappufication of Sri Rahul Gandhi. Why was it done? What is the logic behind it? What is the history? What is the culture? What is the sociology? And what is the psychology of this? It may seem something accidental, or for example, it occurred to somebody to call him a Pappu and therefore he was called Pappu, and once it was called, it amused many people, so they kept repeating. From there, the amusement spread to others, and therefore for about a decade and a half it began to be repeated and repeated. Wherever Rahul turned, he was called a Pappu, Pappu, and this process of Pappufication became a national pastime. That's not how it happened. That's not how such things happen. There is a definite method to this process, and there is a very identifiable mindset that operates behind it, and the attempt in this video is to come to terms with it. Now, the first thing we have to remember, if we want to decode the psychology of this, the sociology and the politics of it, the first thing we have to remember is naming something or somebody is an exercise in power. Naming anyone is an exercise in power. In the normal context, it is an exercise in authority. For example, when the new parliament complex was built, the authority to give it a name, the Vista project, did not belong to you or to me or to the Congress party, Samajwadi party, Trinamool Congress party, whatever. It belonged to a particular nucleus of power. This name was not chosen through a widespread national consultation, nothing of the sort. The center of power arbitrarily decides that this will be the name of the project. Prime Minister's Awas Yojana, Prime Minister's Kisan Yojana, whatever. Name, choosing a name, giving a name is first of all, and this is the most important thing to remember, an exercise in power. Now, if you remember, various institutions have been renamed, hospitals. Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan Hospital was renamed by the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. So many cities in India have been recently renamed by the Modi government. There is even a suggestion that the great Taj Mahal should be renamed. Roads have been renamed, avenues have been renamed. Even the Planning Commission of India has been renamed as Niti Aayog. The Indian Penal Code has been renamed. Indian Evidence Act has been renamed. This process of renaming goes on. That also is an exercise in power. For example, if a child is known to me and you claim the right to name my child, I will be offended. Why? Because it is a direct challenge to my authority over my child. Do you know that till recently in the remote villages of India, when children were born to the Dalits, in many instances they did not have the freedom to choose a name for their children, the name of their choice. They had to name their children according as they were permitted to do so by the dominant caste in that area. And if Dalits used a name which is not permitted by the dominant caste, they could get into serious trouble. Naming is very important. So, what name you choose? Now, by naming a person, you actually control that person. Now, you can also use the same concept in order to humiliate, to insult people. Now, instead of calling a particular religious community, this religious community, you can call them the people who produce children on a large scale. The women are nothing but factories where children are manufactured. This may have nothing to do with the ground realities. There may not be any difference between the size of, the average size of a Hindu family, Muslim family, etc. But still, exercising the power that you command, you can say that so and so is like this. It's actually naming them. It is naming them by not using their name. That's also one way of naming people in an insulting fashion. So, when the name Pappu was ascribed to Rahul Gandhi, this particular principle was at work, namely that we will not let you have your choice of your name, we will tell you who you are, and you have only that right which we concede to you, or you have only the right to be what we allow you to be, and we for the time being allow you the freedom to be Pappu. Your parents have given you some other name, we don't care, it doesn't matter to us. As far as we are concerned, you are Pappu. That's the psychology. It's nothing but an exercise in unbridled and insolent power. The power that arrogates to itself the right to reduce a person to a non-entity by slapping an insulting nomenclature, an insulting name, obliterating the real name of the person given to him by his parents, and a name to which he has a legal right. Now, at this point, I have to make a reference. Let me introduce a very interesting book written by the French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, Jean, pronounced Jean, not Jean, Jean-Paul Sartre, S-A-R-T-R-E. The title of that book is Anti-Semite and Jew. Anti-Semite and Jew. Anti-Semite is a person who hates Jews. Anti-Semite. He hates Jews on account of the race. They are the Semitical stock, so Jews must be hated. And throughout Europe, there was this powerful movement, anti-Semitism movement. And the subject of this very interesting book by Jean-Paul Sartre is the anti-Semitic movement, and he's attempted a critique of that movement. I don't want to bother you with all the arguments in that book. I'll only pick up just one idea. And he says, according to the anti-Semites, who is a Jew? Sartre sometimes is a bit subtle, therefore please pay attention to this. He says, according to the anti-Semite, a Jew is what the anti-Semite is pleased to identify as a Jew. So, a Jew does not have the right to decide who he should be, what he should be like, what personal qualities, what collective attributes, what strengths, what weaknesses, what good qualities, what cultural attainments, what political outlook he should have. Nothing of this. He is not entitled to any of this. The persons who hate them, the anti-Semites, will decide what a Jew is. And the Jew has to conform to that image which is already prescribed arbitrarily by the anti-Semite for the Jew. This is a very appropriate reference because something exactly similar was done to Rahul Gandhi. What was done by the anti-Semitic activists to the Jews in the whole process of whipping up hatred against Jews, which finally culminated in the Holocaust under Hitler in Germany during the Second World War, and it actually started even a little prior to that. The same process, the same psychology, the same logic, the same perverse logic was actually resorted to against Rahul Gandhi. Now, if this much is understood, now let me explain why I respect Rahul Gandhi, or why I appreciate what he has achieved against this overwhelming odds. Something that's far too difficult to fight and emerge from unscathed. What has he done? He never fought the title. He never fought the malicious ascription of a degrading title, to put it more accurately than truthfully. What did he do? He went about proving his mettle, M-A-T-T-L-E, mettle, not metal, mettle. And he has succeeded eminently. Step by step, week after week, month after month, year after year, over a period of 10 years, he has proved that he is not a Pappu. And he has proved that he has certain qualities of character, of personality, of culture, of human dignity and attainment, which his detractors cannot match. That is something that fills my heart with respect bordering on admiration. That's why when I talk like this, the Modi Bhakts damn me as a Rahul Bhakt. Yes, in this respect, I have to admire him. I do admire him. And I do admire him boundlessly because I put myself in the shoes of Rahul Gandhi and ask myself the question, if I were in his place, would I have survived this onslaught and successfully emerged from it shining bright and beautiful? No, I would not have had the strength. I tell you, in all humility, in all truthfulness, I would have perished. Though I too have fought battles like this on a much, much lower scale, incomparably small scale. That's why, because of my experiences of a similar but very low order kind, I cannot but admire him wholeheartedly, with full throat release. So today nobody uses the word or dares use the word Pappu. Nobody Pappufies Rahul Gandhi because he has successfully cast away the fetters of this degrading name attached to him arbitrarily by his detractors. And therefore, as I quoted in one of my earlier videos from an old poem, an anonymous poem, which says, "Those who came to scoff remained to pray." So today his detractors are lost. They don't know what to do about him. The more they ridicule him, the more they heap calumny and obloquy on him, the more the masses like him, the more people are gravitating towards him. Of late, I have been seeing many videos showing how, and these are videos done by children, it's not videos done by some Congress party. Some children these days have YouTube channels, and I visit those channels because I attach truth to children. And I am amazed to see how children flock to him. There is something that's pulling people, especially the children, the youth of India, towards Rahul Gandhi, and this is something that will understandably rattle his detractors. And quite right that it happened so. And I'll close on this very important insight, particularly valuable to the young people. You will face adversities. There will be forces hostile to you, operating full time to bring you down, if possible to degrade and destroy you. But there is no power in the world that can finally destroy you unless and until you begin to cooperate with the forces that are hostile to you. But more than that, what I want you to remember is this. As you face adversities and you stand your ground, believing in the irreducible core of goodness in you, which is always there, and as you endure over time, that seed of goodness in you sprouts, grows and grows and grows and becomes a mighty tree. That's exactly what has happened in Rahul's case. So that within this magical process, this divine process, shall I say, the insults heaped on you actually become some kind of praise. So that for neutral people like us, it's now difficult to withhold our admiration for Rahul Gandhi, even though we don't belong to his camp. I don't think he has a camp. I don't know if there is one good for him or bad for him. I believe in the end that all camps are bad, because camps are soon filled with sycophants and flatterers, and nothing corrupts the human soul as fast and as completely as flattery does. So that's where it is. I think the days of the Pappufication of Sri Rahul Gandhi are over. A new phase has already developed, the phase of recognizing the truth of Rahul Gandhi. So shall I invent another word for it? The days of truthification of Rahul Gandhi are begun. So the phase of Pappufication has given way to the phase of truthification of Rahul Gandhi. And I think that's a good thing. It reflects positively and in a dignified manner about what is good about India, about all of us, about the people of India. That ultimately truth will triumph. Ultimately justice will be available to you. Ultimately the forces of hostility, of injustice, of oppression, of corruption and malevolence will lose their edge and they will be defeated. They may seem to have enormous power when this diabolic process is at work, but it will not last. The energy of that will soon be expended, and the day will soon dawn on you when truth will prevail. And when that happens, you will stand shining 10 times greater than or brighter than you would have been if this had not happened to you. So a time is coming when Rahul Gandhi will really thank his detractors from the bottom of his heart for having done this malevolent service to him, which has, in the alchemy of his personality, turned into something enormously good, which has made him today a mature person of self-mastery, a mature person who is rooted in the realities of the lives of the people, and a person whose heart goes out to the neglected, to the marginalized, to the underprivileged, because he himself was marginalized, he himself was the underprivileged through this process of Pappufication. Therefore, I believe that the kinship, the affinity that he feels to the poor or the marginalized today is 100% sincere, though the opposite camp tries to denigrate that also as his craving for photo op moments. Well, you can shut your eyes willfully against truth for as long as you like, but truth will have its way, and it certainly has begun to find its way into the hearts of the millions and millions of Indians, and that's what matters in the end. And to that extent, I salute the spirit of India. Well done. Jai Hind.